It's the last day of the month, and I think it's clear that Wall Street Kid did not prepare me for all of this GameStop news. That's just one of the many things I learned in January 2021, a month that saw CNBC have a Chernobyl-sized meltdown because of a subreddit. Here are a few more things that I learned this month. So, when I heard that Microsoft was raising the price of the Xbox Live Gold subscription, I figured that they would do the obvious thing and maybe bump it up by, $5 or $10. Unfortunately, this month I learned that Microsoft was a lot greedier than even the most cynical gamers could have imagined. They tried to double the price of their service, right after launching a disc-free system, in the middle of a pandemic. Yeah! Obviously, they reversed course almost immediately, but it's still shocking that Microsoft thought that they could double the price without anybody noticing. Who does that? Now, as I'm sure that you and everybody else knows, January brought the inauguration of President Biden, a ceremony that was almost completely upstaged by Bernie Sanders wearing a comfortable coat. The meme went viral, and this month I learned that Bernie would be the perfect fit in games like Mortal Kombat, Pokemon, one of the million versions of Skyrim, the cover of Phalanx on the Super NES, Undertale, Mario Kart, Little Big Planet, Kingdom Hearts, Castlevania Symphony of the Night, and yes, even the dating game. Alright, I ran out of video games, but the point still stands. This month I learned that there's a really long Sega Saturn that is definitely not overcompensating for anything. I also learned that there are a lot of people out there that want to have sex with Keanu Reeves. Yeah, believe it or not, this is a trend that seems to be sweeping the Cyberpunk 2077 modding community. And as expected, CD Projekt Red would like it to stop. I don't know, it just seems like maybe if one of the developers had just watched My Own Private Idaho, they would have seen this coming. Speaking of people who make sexy things weird, Dead or Alive and Ninja Gaiden creator Tomonobu Itagaki has created his own studio, annoyingly named Itagaki Games. That's definitely something that I learned in January. Also, did you know that Minecraft Earth was a thing that existed? Well, I didn't. And apparently it's getting shut down. That's probably terrible news, but honestly, I don't know. Now, one thing that I do know is that it's awesome when people can beat games and bosses at superhuman speeds. In January, I learned that it's possible to kill a target in Hitman 3 in less than 10 seconds. Yeah, sure, it's completely impractical, but I love that this kind of thing exists. And while we're talking about Hitman, this month I learned a lot about the upcoming Project 007 game. Not only will it not be connected to any of the existing movie bonds, but the developer is apparently eyeing the game to be part of a trilogy. As a lifelong fan of the Super Spy, this feels like the right fit for the right franchise, and I have my fingers crossed that it's not gonna be set in present day. Seriously, Cold War Bond is my favorite Bond. Speaking of promising games based on long-running movie franchises, this month I learned that Lucasfilm and Bethesda are diving back into the world of Indiana Jones. Yeah, I'm sure it'll be great and all, but it will never be able to top Temple of Doom on the NES, said nobody. Hey, did you know that Vicarious Visions has been gobbled up by Blizzard? Yeah, that's sad. But at least we learned that the team is working on a remake of Diablo 2. It seems like the upcoming fourth game in the series will be something of a reboot, so remaking one of the most popular dungeon crawlers of all time makes a whole lot of sense. Another thing we learned about this month is Puzzle Quest 3, the long-awaited sequel to one of my favorite puzzle games. I'm a little troubled that it's going to be released as a free-to-play game, but I have my fingers crossed that they're going to be able to revive that magic. I have real fond memories of that first game. This month, I learned that the developers behind the excellent Streets of Rage 4 are interested in making a sequel to Garou: Mark of the Wolves. They tweeted this mock-up picture, which is irresistible to anybody who loved the original Fatal Fury spin-off. But hey, don't feel like Garou is your only option, Lizard Cube. Because I'm serious here, somebody needs to pump some life into Waku Waku 7. Get on it! Speaking of dream projects that probably won't come to fruition, David Bowie's son, Duncan Jones, has apparently spent his time in lockdown writing a movie version of the classic point-and-click adventure game Full Throttle. Man, I loved Moon and even enjoyed Source Code. But Duncan has been on a bit of a losing streak lately with both Warcraft and that terrible Netflix movie Mute. I'm not getting my hopes up for this one. Now hey, did you know that there's a new Game Boy game called Deadius? It's a top-down horror game that's getting a physical release in February. I can download and review the ROM right now, but I don't know if I should. Should I? On that note, one of my favorite things in life is when long, unfinished games you thought would never come out end up, well, coming out. In January, we learned that the 1998 PlayStation game Magic Castle had secretly been finished and is now available to play via an emulator. Now you too can play the game that 6 different publishers, including Sony, ended up passing on more than 20 years ago. Yay! And no, we're not done talking about unfinished games that you can play right now, because I just learned that Power Up Baseball exists. This midway sports game was supposed to do for baseball what NBA Jam did for basketball. There's a really great interview over at the Video Game History Foundation where art director Alan Noon lays out a lot of the problems that plague development. You can also check out their website for a ROM download, just in case you want to see what could have been. Man, sometimes the internet is great. Speaking of great, community fans rejoice because you can finally return to Greendale in a free Steam game based on the sitcom's paintball-themed episodes. Yeah, okay, that's cool and all, but I dare you to go ahead and make a game based off of the 8th episode of Twin Peaks: The Returns, you cowards. As it turns out, TV fans were busy this month because not only did they make a community game, but Gilmore Girls loving modders put Rory, Lorelai, Suki, Dean, and the rest of Stars Hollow into Fire Emblem: The Secret Stones. Man, I'm telling you, that's what the internet was invented for. Modders also created a way to play the first 2 Sonic the Hedgehog games from a zoomed out perspective. And when I say zoomed out, I mean zoomed all the way out. It's actually kind of mesmerizing. And that's a bonus thing that I learned in January. And finally, here's something weird that I discovered while reviewing Terratopia. When you set your controller down and let the monster do his idle animation, he'll very slowly slide backwards. You can't really see it on normal speed, but it's crystal clear when you speed up the footage like I did right here. It's basically the world's slowest moonwalk. Boy, I hate to say it, but there's a real chance that this is going to be the only thing I remember about Terratopia. Hopefully this isn't the only thing I remember about January 2021. Hey, thanks for watching me recap January. This is a new series that we're going to be doing at the end of every month, so check back in about 4 weeks. Now, here's the question I have for you. What did you learn in January? Did we miss anything? Let me see your thoughts on the month in the comments below. In other news, we're going to be debuting a bunch of new shows over the coming weeks, so definitely be on the look for that. We also have a lot of reviews to get to, so expect some of those to be sprinkled in over the next few days. If that sounds good to you, then I strongly recommend you click that subscribe button and support what we're doing here. Until then.